And as promised, here's Jay Gonzalez live right now to continue our OTR conversation.
Good morning, Mr. Gonzalez. We just asked Governor Baker a few minutes ago, and now it's really your turn. Hours after 11 people were murdered in a Pittsburgh synagogue yesterday, President Trump has suggested an armed guard inside the building could have stopped the carnage. Your reaction?
That's just wrong. I mean, I am heartbroken about this incident. It is clearly an incident of hate, a despicable act of hate. And we need to be standing up against this. We need to check this hate that's happening in our society. I was just last week in Reading, here in Massachusetts, at a rally where the community got together to stand up against hate in their community, where a couple of swastikas were found in a locker room in their high school. There are more and more incidents of this, and we've got a president who is inciting this type of hate. He's contributing to a culture of hate. We need to be standing up against it. We are better than this. We need to recognize our differences as strengths and recognize that beneath those differences are many more similarities. And we need public leaders who are going to stand up strongly to make sure that we are fighting back against this. You know, one other thing I want to say, this is another incident, a mass shooting with an assault weapon. The NRA has a stranglehold on our Congress, and they are not doing what they need to do to put common sense gun laws in place. I have said we should do everything we can here in Massachusetts, including banning the manufacture of assault weapons. We can't buy them here in Massachusetts. We shouldn't be able to make them, and we should be doing everything we can to try to reduce gun violence in this country.
I'd like to shift the conversation, Mr. Gonzalez, to the Merrimack Valley. And as the cold creeps in, we have now learned that some residents of the Merrimack Valley won't have gas fully restored until sometime during the first half of December. The original deadline was the first half of November. Is it okay with you?
No, it's not. It's certainly not okay for them. This is a tragedy. It has disrupted people's lives in a very significant way. Thousands of people in the Merrimack Valley. I'm actually going up to Lawrence right after this. I'm going to be back in Lawrence tomorrow, where I'm going to be meeting with some of the people who've been affected by this crisis. And, you know, there's a lot that we can and should be doing to get on top of this and get this fixed for them quicker. The National Grid workers who've been locked out, it took the governor weeks before saying they could help out and help to address the problem there. And there's still not a single one of those locked out workers that's been put to work in the Merrimack Valley. They should be treating this like the emergency it is, getting the resources we need at people's homes to replace the utilities and everything else in the homes and the appliances to get their homes to where they've got the service they need, they have the heat they need, they can cook in their homes. This is a real problem, and the governor needs to take charge. It feels like we've kind of left it up. He's left it up to the gas company to figure this out. Well, the gas company is not figuring it out quickly enough, and they're not getting answers to people, and they're not solving the problem quickly enough.
One of the boldest ideas in your campaign has been taxing the richest voters to pay for better transportation. But not only would you have problems probably selling this to voters, but most Democrats in the legislature as well. Some people would suggest this is nothing more than a campaign promise that can't be met. What's your response?
Oh, I disagree. I think we're going to deliver on this. And, you know, look, that my plan has two parts: taxing millionaires, bringing the millionaires tax back, and the legislature's actually voted twice to put that on the ballot. So they're on record supporting it. And the other plan is to tax our wealthiest universities in this state that have billion-dollar endowments. They've been able to accumulate huge wealth thanks to the fact we don't tax them, and we need their help now. And this is a modest tax proposal. Most of the response we get to it is very enthusiastic, because people understand that we need to invest more in our transportation system and education systems to get them to work for people across this state. And I'm not going to ask lower and middle income people to pay more in taxes. I'm going to ask the wealthy to pay more so that we can make a difference for all the working families in this state who are being left behind.
But do you think you could really sell the idea to House Speaker Bob DeLeo to tax the universities?
I do. You know, I'm running on this.
Have you had a conversation with him about this?
The fact. No, I haven't. But I've been very open about the fact that if I get elected, we're going to raise $3 billion each year from the wealthy to invest in transportation and education. And if I get elected on that agenda, I think it's a mandate to do it. And as I said, the legislature's on record already voting for the millionaire's tax to be on the ballot. I think people understand that we've got one of the worst transportation systems in the country. It's affecting people's quality of life every single day as they sit in traffic for way too long and sitting on disabled trains. An education system that everyone agrees we are underfunding, particularly for lower income districts. We have to be bold about this. We've got to take these issues on, and it is going to cost more money. And this is a big choice people are going to have in this election. They can elect someone who's going to take these issues on and be honest about the fact we need to raise money from the wealthy, or Governor Baker's plan, which is zero additional investment in transportation education. He's totally satisfied with the status quo, and it's not good enough.
Let's talk about it. I want to ask you the same question, Mr. Gonzalez, I just asked the governor. During this campaign, what has the governor said about you that upsets you the most?
You know, I think his dismissiveness to my ambitious agenda and that we can actually make progress on these big issues. You know, I talked about single-payer health care, which I think we need to do to make our healthcare system sustainable and make it work for people across the state. I think in the last debate, he said I was being flippant. Why would I want to take on something that hard? Well, because we have to. And you know what? We're Massachusetts. One of the things I love about us is we have always believed we can take on big challenges. We've always been a leader. And I'm not running for governor to manage the status quo. The status quo is not working for people. And I know that's his approach. And if people are happy with a transportation system that isn't working, or an education system, or a healthcare system that's cost too much and people don't have access to the care they need, Charlie Baker's their guy. But if they want a governor who's going to be bold and take on these big challenges, then I hope to earn their vote.
Mr. Gonzalez, you're a big supporter of Question 1 that would mandate patient-to-nurse ratios. Community hospitals say, however, that it would be their death if this passed. What's your message to them? How do you explain to them that they're going to be safe?
Well, I am voting yes on 1 because I think we need to lean toward patient safety. I have said if it passes, as governor, I would work with the legislature to the extent we need to tweak the law to make sure the implementation is as smooth as possible. But look, community hospitals, their problem isn't this ballot question. Their problem is they're operating in a dysfunctional healthcare system where they aren't getting paid for the services they provide at an adequate rate. And if we go to a single-payer healthcare system where everybody's going to get access to the healthcare services they need, and we are reimbursing all hospitals and providers at a fair rate and a rational payment system, then that will solve the problem. We got to stop thinking about incremental change for a system that is totally dysfunctional and not working for people and not financially sustainable. And it's an example of an area where I'm going to provide bold leadership to take this on and fix it so that we never have to make this choice about whether or not we've got nurse staffing ratios that are consistent with industry standards to keep people safe.
So, Mr. Gonzalez, did you stay up till 3:30 in the morning and watch the Red Sox the other night?
I couldn't stay up till 3:30 in the morning, even if I tried. And one of the tough things about what I'm doing right now is I'm missing too many of these games.
I know, right?
But anyway, I'm hoping they win tonight,
right,
and we bring the World Series championship back to Boston.
Well, thank you for being with us this morning.
Right.
We really appreciate it.
You're absolutely right. I think a lot of DVRs were working overtime on for that Red Sox game. We have a great thanks to Democrat for Governor Jay Gonzalez for being with us this morning. A program reminder, by the way, the final debate for the Massachusetts governor office is Thursday night from 7 to 8 right here on Channel 5. Thursday night, live, 7 to 8, Thursday night. Stay with us. The OTR Political Roundtable is next.